Come on, Limu, keep pedaling. We gotta build our endurance to let more people know that Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Pick up the pace, bird legs!
Hey! Don't talk to Limu like that!
I'm not, I'm talking to you!
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Get a customized quote at libertymutual.com.
Premier destination for conferences, workshops, employment fairs, weddings, and more. With 4,000 square feet of space, the Highland Event Center can accommodate events large and small. Situated in the heart of the Highlands, guests can enjoy the many restaurants, retail stores, entertainment, and lodging options. To check out everything the Highlands Event Center has to offer, head to thehighlandseventcenter.com or call 833-639-7070.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the storm tracker, Darnell Foster. With a look at your local weather forecast for your Thursday. Scattered showers and thunderstorms, otherwise partly cloudy through the afternoon. Daytime high near 83, overnight low of 69 degrees, partly cloudy skies. You'll see clouds, limited sunshine for your Friday, with temperatures in the lower 80s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Launch control, this is Houston. We are go for launch.
You're early.
Roger that.
It's Thursday.
Why even call it Thursday?
Problem?
We have pizza on Thursday.
Places, please. Quiet down.
Here is a complete disc jockey show with all the modern pace of today's exciting radio.
Good morning.
Let's get started.
Seriously. Let's go.
It's showtime.
Live and local in the Ohio Valley, this is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Well, it is showtime, and we have a busy show for you today, so settle in and be prepared for 3 hours of stimulating conversation and maybe a little bit of goofiness along the way, because that's sometimes what we do. What's coming up today? Plans for a gas power plant in Brooke County had predicted thousands of jobs and huge economic impact, but now that project seems dead. Is the state's unfounded fealty to the coal industry to blame for this? With fall football almost here, a couple of Mountain State schools are on football hold right now because of positive COVID testing. Protests have shut down MLB and NBA playoffs. Wheeling Council recently okayed the purchase of OVMC property and that 19th Street property in East Wheeling. But now that the purchase has been made, or will be soon, it's time to get to work on those projects. City Manager Bob Herron overseeing all that stuff, and he's with us today to talk about what's happening now. Now the decisions have been made, the work has to get done. Wheeling's Blues Fest is one of the summer's most popular events, but as a private venture, it's always been a financially risky effort. It had to be canceled this year because of COVID, so what's next year looking like? Organizer Bruce Wheeler dropping by to discuss that with us. Also, Hurricane Laura hits landfall hard. We'll talk about that with Zach. Pence accepts the nomination at the Republican National Convention. We'll listen in. And a couple of goofy stories, including, Lord help us not for me, short shorts for men are apparently the new trend coming back. No. We'll talk about all of this here on the Watchdog Morning Show. That's what I have to offer you. What do you have to offer me? Use the text line 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600. The text line is open all the time. Feel free to use it whenever the mood strikes you. You want to comment on anything I've just mentioned, or you want to comment as I'm discussing them later in the morning, perfectly fine. Have some other things you think you'd like to chat about, throw them out there on the text line, and I'll try and squeeze them in as I have time. As always, you want to offer a little criticism or a little compliment. Both are accepted, and both I generally will read. So feel free to use the text line 304-214-1600. And, of course, from time to time, when we have time, you're welcome to use the CityNet hotline at 304-232-8255. Let's see, the summer-like weather with very high heat and mugginess and maybe some storms will continue during the day today. Daytime high pushing around 90 degrees. Right now, partly cloudy outside, 73 at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, and 73 degrees at the home studios here in Elm Grove, plus the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. I am in the home studio, Brother Biff behind the glass at the Robinson Auto Group Studios, holding forth. Good morning, Brother Biff.
Good morning, Howard.
Did you make your run out and get a morning paper yet?
Oh, yeah, at 5 o'clock this morning.
Because isn't today football preview day?
Yeah, it's sitting right here next to me in my chair.
I knew that you would. I knew that you would have it here. Brother Biff's preparing for one of his happiest times of the year. We apparently are ready. Are we ready for some football? I guess we are. Here in the Upper Ohio Valley. I think we have one game tonight. Not we, the radio station, but there's one game being played locally tonight. Is there not?
Yeah, it'll be at World War II Memorial Stadium, Barnesville, and Buckeye Local.
So we have the first game coming up tonight. And then we have a variety of games in the Upper Ohio Valley coming up tomorrow night. Biffy, I don't yet have a copy of our football schedule. Do you have one yet? Do you know what we're doing here on the Watchdog? Because I have no idea.
Yes, I got schedule handy right here. And tomorrow night, we will have Shady Side taking on Martins Ferry. Tomorrow at 7. And then Saturday afternoon, we will be in Nelson Field in Belair as River will play Belair at 12:30.
All right. So that's kicking off the season here on the Watchdog. And again, a pretty full slate of contests all throughout the area. I'm looking here. Let's see. Tomorrow night, St. Clairsville, Carrollton. Steubenville goes to Youngstown Cardinal Mooney. Let's see, what else we got coming up here? A bunch of games this weekend and again. So we've got tomorrow night, Martins Ferry, Shady Side, and then on Saturday, who is it? River and what?
River and Belair from Nelson Field.
River and Blair. I guess I'll write that down so I don't forget. As Brother Biff has all the info. And you got your football preview already, so you probably already gone through it, and you're feeling good this morning, aren't you, Biff?
One of my favorite days of the year, right here.
I know you run out and get that as soon as it happens. And here's hoping that everything here in the Upper Ohio Valley stays copacetic as far as fall football goes. But elsewhere in the state, Biffy, they're already having some problems. Over in the Eastern Panhandle, Martinsburg had to put their football practices on hold because of a positive COVID contact around the program. And apparently what's going to happen with Martinsburg's season opener next week is still a little bit up in the air. And then in Kanawha County, they have gone into the orange category now. More cases in Kanawha County, significantly growing in Kanawha County. So they have now gone into the orange level on the governor's rainbow system of alerts. And let's see, Kanawha, Logan, and Monroe counties are now in the orange category. And that means a number of things. Schools cannot have in-person instruction in those areas. Also, school sports teams in those three counties can practice, but cannot play games until they get out of the orange and get back down to yellow. Now, the map is updated daily, so we'll see how things go. It's updated weekly, I think, so we'll see how things go at the end of this week. So at least Kanawha County has gone orange. Logan and Monroe counties already orange. and that means no football there at the moment. Also, Martinsburg football practice is on hold, and we'll wait and see what happens as far as the actual season opener. They got a week to go for that. I think the issue there is, can they get enough required practices in whenever they return to practice? Right now, their preseason practices are on pause in Martinsburg, and I think the big question will be, when do they get back to practicing, and then can they get the required number of practices in before their season opener? But here in the Upper Ohio Valley, at least at the moment, no problems, and so we'll hopefully have football back, and all will be right with the world again, Smithy. All will be right with the world now that.
And especially over in Ohio now, because the way they're doing it this year, they're only going to play 6 games. Remember, Ohio's playing on a shortened season, so pretty much everybody is going to make the playoffs in Ohio. And then if you want to, if you get eliminated and you can find another game, then you can play after and all that. But no, to keep it simple, Ohio only going to go with 6 games this year.
And I think on both sides of the river, there still probably will be, over the course of the season, some shuffling. You know what I mean? It may not be because any individual school, local or otherwise, has a problem themselves, but it could be opponents might have problems. So I think whether you're Ohio or West Virginia, it's still going to be a little bit up in the air. I think we'll have football. I don't think it's going to be, nothing's coming off the table, but individual schools may have to come off the table. And I just have a feeling ADs are going to need to keep their phones handy, throughout the season in case they have to rearrange schedules a little bit.
And again, I think we said it when this first came out and everything. If you're an athletic director, you almost more so in West Virginia, but you may run into this a little bit in Ohio. But for West Virginia, you almost have to schedule like 2 games just in case something happens with one. Yeah, and they can't say on a Saturday when the map comes out, if you're playing one of those teams that are in the 3 counties that are orange. Well, if they can't play, I mean, you better have somebody you could fill in as a replacement game, because if not, that's a game you may not be able to make up on your schedule. So, instead of having, say, a team has 8 games scheduled, they can't play that team. That drops them down. Now they're down to 7. So it's going to be interesting literally we say week by week. That's what we're going to have to take it this year is literally on a week by week basis.
Absolutely. And again, I don't make any specific predictions, but I will predict that even locally you'll see some adjustments had to be made. Again, maybe not anybody locally having a problem, although that's possible, but it could be opponents they're playing having problems. So you're right, Biffy. I think ADs, they're going to earn their pay this year.
Oh, for sure. No doubt about that.
Yeah, and we'll follow all of this, of course, here on the morning show, and Billy will talk about it on the Bill DeFabio Variety Show. And tomorrow we return to the Friday afternoon walkthrough with Jerry and the gang. So it's one of my favorite programs of the year is listening to the walkthrough. I think mainly because there's just what a cast of characters we put together for that,
It is quite the cast, but all good guys.
Yeah, all good guys, and everybody's got an opinion, and they don't always agree, and it's just a great way to kick off your Friday with the Friday afternoon walkthrough tomorrow, and then every Friday during the football season here on the Watchdog. Now, it's not a pandemic-related cancellation. But the first 3 rounds, the 3 first-round NBA playoff games that were supposed to be played yesterday were postponed because some of the players decided to sit out in protest over racial injustice. This all goes to that police shooting of Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin, a 29-year-old black man who was shot in the back. And the protest was begun by the Milwaukee Bucks, who are only about 40 miles away from Kenosha. They refused to come out of the locker room for their game against the Orlando Magic. Here's the statement they issued as they decided they weren't going to take part in the playoffs.
The past 4 months have shed a light on the ongoing racial injustices facing our African-American community. Citizens around the country have used their voices and platforms to speak out against these wrongdoings. Over the last few days in our home state of Wisconsin, we've seen the horrendous video of Jacob Blake being shot in the back 7 times by a police officer in Kenosha, and the additional shooting of protesters. Despite the overwhelming plea for change, there has been no action. So our focus today cannot be on basketball.
When we take the court to represent Milwaukee and Wisconsin, we are expected to play at a high level, give maximum effort, and hold each other accountable. We hold ourselves to that standard, and in this moment, we are demanding the same from lawmakers and law enforcement. We are calling for justice for Jacob Blake and demand the officers be held accountable. For this to occur, it is imperative for the Wisconsin State Legislature to reconvene after months of inaction and take up meaningful measures to address issues of police accountability, brutality, and criminal justice reform. We encourage all citizens to educate themselves, take peaceful and responsible action, and remember to vote on November 3rd.
So again, and what's going to happen? I don't know if that protest will continue. It's really a little bit unclear. After news spread about the NBA players sitting out their playoff games yesterday, some players in other sports followed. All 3 of the scheduled WNBA games were postponed. 3 Major League Baseball games were called off. 5 MLS matches were canceled because players decided they're going to boycott them. The MLB games, Major League Baseball games postponed, were the Reds and Brewers, Mariners, Padres, Dodgers, and San Fran. They all are set to make up double headers to catch up today, and we'll see how that whole thing plays out. Yesterday, on the set of TNT's Inside the NBA, Kenny Smith was doing commentary when he said, "You know what? I don't think I should be here."
This is tough. I mean, right now my head is like ready to explode, just in the thoughts of what's going on. And I don't know if I'm even appropriate enough to say it, what the players are feeling and how they're feeling. And I haven't talked to any of the players. I'm just like coming in, even like driving here and getting into the studio, hearing calls and people talking. And for me, I think the biggest thing now is to kind of, as a black man, as a former player, I think it's best for me to support the players and just not be here tonight.
And I respect that.
A number of celebrities took to social media reacting to the whole thing. Among them, Barack Obama, who tweeted out, "I commend the players, the Bucks players, for standing up for what they believe in and setting an example. It's going to take all of our institutions to stand up for our values." So, and some comments from a variety of folks.
The interesting thing, too, about yesterday's game, Milwaukee was scheduled to play Orlando at 4 o'clock. It would have been Game 5 of their first-round series. And had Milwaukee played yesterday and won, they would have won the first-round series yesterday afternoon, because they were up 3-1 going into Game 5. So yesterday was a first-round clinching game for Milwaukee.
So, will they play today? Or what do you think, Biff? I mean, what's your best guess? What's your spider sense tell you? Is this going to be a protest that will continue, or have they made their point and they'll move on?
I think it was just a one-day thing. I think they made their point yesterday, and I think they'll get back to basketball today, or maybe even tomorrow. But I think it'll be a quick turnaround before they're back on the court.
A day. This is not. You don't think that? I'm with you, but I don't think this will turn into a long-term protest. I think they have a point they want to make. They made it. They may take it. It may be another day or two, of protest. I'm not sure, but my guess, and God knows I have no inside information. My guess is they will probably try to get back into action within a day or two. The point will be made. I don't know that there's any point to be made to continue protesting. Although I don't know, there's strong feeling about this, in particularly in the African American community, of which many NBA players are. And it is this story, from Kenosha really is a horrible story. I mean, the guy was shot 7 times in the back. How do you shoot one time? How do you shoot 7 times in the back? I mean, you can see how people begin to say something isn't quite right with this when these kinds of things can happen. And I know a lot of folks don't like to hear all of this talk about Black Lives Matter, and there is some racial injustice among some, not all, but some in law enforcement. But I think you look at some of these stories. In fact, this guy was shot in the back, shot 7 times in the back. Jacob Blake. There were others wounded there as well. There has been an arrest made. An Illinois 17-year-old has been arrested on murder charges in the shooting death of Jacob Blake and another person in that Kenosha situation. Kyle Rittenhouse is white. Now, remember, the black guy was shot in the back. Kyle Rittenhouse is white, was carrying a semi-automatic rifle, and is heard on video saying, "I just killed somebody," as he walked right past police. He walked right past police with a gun, the semi-automatic gun, and said, "I just killed somebody." And nobody even said, "Excuse me, hello, pardon me, what?" They later went and arrested him, and that's the good side of it. But not until the next day. So if you think there is not unequal justice in this world, you're missing something. And it's easy to understand. No, as a white American, a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, typical white privileged man in America, no, it's not easy to understand. But I am coming more and more to understand how African Americans in this country feel. Black guy, boom, 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 7 in the back. White guy, I just shot somebody. We'll come and see you tomorrow. There's something amiss in that whole thing. There is something amiss in that whole thing. Now, Rittenhouse apparently was among the vigilante militia members that showed up to patrol Kenosha to help the police. In fact, there is a video taken before the showing that show police tossing bottled water to the vigilantes, and apparently Rittenhouse is one of them. And one police officer is heard saying, "We appreciate you being here." I guess until he shot and killed people. Anyway, so I say maybe it's not easy to understand, but if you stop and think it through a little bit, you get where this protest is coming from. Nonetheless, I suspect, as Biff said, I don't know that this will be a long-lived protest. I think they have made their point, continue to make it for a day or two, and then they will move on. Which we shall do as well here at 7:31 in the morning, 29 before the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. I guess you can still bet on the NBA Finals, Beffy.
Yes, you can, as of right now.
Yeah, the NBA playoffs are here, and our buddies at FanDuel do have that offer for you, the slam dunk offer I keep talking about, where you can bet on any team to make the finals. Maybe the next bet should be, when will the finals be finally done? I don't know. I'm only joking. I don't think that is a bet on FanDuel. But right now, new users get special odds on any team making the NBA Finals. You pick whatever team you think is going to make it, and you lay down 10, and you get 200 if you win. So pick your favorites and go. Again, it may not happen today or tomorrow, but eventually the NBA playoffs will get back into business. And if you do win the $200, then you'll also get that money in your account pretty quickly. Because FanDuel has a quick 24-hour turnaround of returning cash into your account. They're also very easy to use and intuitive. If you haven't done it yet, feel free to download the app download the FanDuel Sportsbook app, sign up with my name, Monroe, and the promo code, and then that way they know we sent you here from the Watchdog, and you can check things out. Somebody said to me, Biffy, somebody said to me yesterday, Howard, I appreciate that you advertise FanDuel. I'm not taking any gambling advice from you.
Okay.
I said, well, I get that. And that's why I always ask Brother Biff for his advice. I ask Brother Biff for his opinions. His opinions are much more informed in this area than mine are. So I'm not going to tell you who I think will be in the NBA Finals. I don't know. That's why I keep asking Biff. Who do you think are going to be in the Finals, Biffy?
Well, I think in the East, you've got to look at Milwaukee, who is the favorite, and possibly Toronto, who is the NBA champions from last year. And over in the West, I still like the Lakers and the winner of the Houston-Oklahoma City series.
Don't take my advice. Take Brother Biff's. He's a smarter man than I am. Or just use your spidey sense and trust it and take your bet. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Use my name, Monroe, in the promo code. I do need to remind you have to be 21 or older. You must be physically present in West Virginia. This is a deal for new users only. You must wager on designated boost market. The maximum bonus is $200. All the terms and conditions are available at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling can be fun. Gaming can be fun. Placing a little bet can put some vim and vigor in your watching a game or listening to a game. But for some people, they can't do that. If you are among those who have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. FanDuel Sportsbook. More ways to win. They're not winning down in Louisiana. It's been a rough morning as Hurricane Laura, right? Laura, is that what it is?
Yes.
Hurricane Laura made landfall. We'll talk to Zach about how it's going in Louisiana and what we might expect as blowback from that this week here in the Upper Ohio Valley. A little bit later on, I want you to hear the ongoing battle between Phil Kabler of the Charleston Gazette and Governor Justice. Those two, I mean, it's kind of funny. It's kind of sad, but it's kind of funny. They just go at it tooth and nail, and the Kabler and the governor had a little tete-a-tete yesterday at the press conference. I want to share that with you, too. We are the Watchdog Morning Show. Let's check some headlines for you. The Big Seven is here to take care of that right now.
The WTRF Channel 7 News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Now it's time for your...
6-1. Colorado over Dallas 6-4. The Stars lead that series 2-1. In the wake of a weekend shooting by police of Jacob Blake in Wisconsin, 3 Major League Baseball games, 3 NBA playoff games postponed on Wednesday. And the late Bill Nunn, the super scout of the Pittsburgh Steelers, named to the Pro Football Hall of Fame as a contributor to the NFL. He'll be inducted in the class of 2021. Hey, be safe out there. Be thoughtful and considerate of others. Check on the elderly. I'm Bill DeFabio, and we are the Watchdog.
The Highlands Event Center is the area's premier destination for conferences, workshops, employment fairs, weddings, and more. With 4,000 square feet of space, the Highland Event Center can accommodate events large and small. Situated in the heart of the Highlands, guests can enjoy the many restaurants, retail stores, entertainment, and lodging options. To check out everything the Highlands Event Center has to offer, head to thehighlandseventcenter.com or call 833-639-7070.
Just like they always do, Quaker Steak and Lube at the Highlands continues to serve the Ohio Valley. The Lube is still open for carryout and now offering their $10 meal deal every day of the week. Get 1 entree and 1 sidecar for just $10. Pick from steak, wings, ribs, and more. Call in or order online at thelube.com and follow them on Facebook to stay up to date on their latest specials and promotions.
I'm Josh from Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. I hope you are staying healthy. We continue to respond to structural, fire, and water emergencies. We are combating COVID-19 with our highly trained staff and latest disinfection systems, providing preventative and reactive disinfection to facilities around the region, while working with area hospitals on isolation areas and air filtering. At Panhandle, we continue to follow social distancing and hygiene protocols. We are dedicated to our community, and together we will get through this.
Oh, there's something so real about living local, and I know without a doubt I'm not alone. And I'm loving living local. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. Said I'm loving living local. WTRF is working for me. The Ohio Valley is where I love to be.
The Highlands Event Center is the area's premier destination for conferences, workshops, employment fairs, weddings, and more. With 4,000 square feet of space, the Highland Event Center can accommodate events large and small. Situated in the heart of the Highlands, guests can enjoy the many restaurants, retail stores, entertainment, and lodging options. To check out everything the Highlands Event Center has to offer, head to thehighlandseventcenter.com or call 833-639-7070.
From the Watchdog Network, right now traffic. Here's the latest from the Robinson Auto Group Traffic Center.
Traffic near the Highlands, on Washington Avenue, and on the Fort Henry Bridge is all clear. Traffic near the Ohio Valley Mall, on 70 and 470, and on State Route 7 looks good. West Virginia 2 South, Main Street and Wheeling will be reduced to 1 lane from 11th Street to 16th Street. The full nightly closures of both I-470 eastbound from Exit 2 to I-70 and westbound from I-470 to Exit 2 will continue. The Exit 2 westbound off-ramp and eastbound on-ramp at Bethlehem will continue to be closed intermittently. McCulloch Street under I-70 will continue to have single-lane closures. The closure of the on-ramp from US 250 north to I-70 westbound will continue. The Market Street overpass width reduction will continue. The single-lane closures on Route 2 under I-70 will continue. I-70 construction will continue westbound where crossovers are in effect. And all existing detours and closures will continue for the I-70 Bridges project. Follow Ohio Valley Traffic Report on Facebook, WTRF 7 News, and the Watchdog for updates.
Catch Biff Leonard on the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe. Weekday morning 7 to 10 a.m. Only on the Watchdog. Live and local talk radio. Just the way you like it.
Live and local for the Ohio Valley. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
It is 7:42, 18 till the hour. Looking at a predicted high close to 90 today. We're at 73 right now at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, here at my home studios, and at the Robinson Auto Group Studios, downtown Wheeling, in the heart of the Ohio Valley. We'll talk about the Ohio Valley forecast in a minute, but first, as we bring in Zach from the Big 7, WTRF TV. Zach, things are pretty tough down in Louisiana this morning, I guess, huh?
Absolutely devastating. It's a gut-wrenching feeling for me waking up this morning and putting on the Weather Channel and listening to things this morning on the hurricane making landfall this morning at 2 o'clock our time, 1 a.m. Central Time, and just devastating. Luckily, they weren't getting the storm surge that they were expecting. They only got 9 to 10 feet in terms of storm surge, but just a lot of devastating with gusty winds upwards of 130 miles gusts, sustained winds at 100, and definitely luckily that we're not down there right now. I could only imagine being down there and doing live coverage. It's certainly a day that I'm going to remember, especially being new in the weather industry. Definitely a day I'm going to remember for a long, long time today.
This is, I don't know if it is a record storm for Louisiana, but it's close to the record, at least in terms of the wind speeds and so on. It's close to a record, at least, for hitting that part of the country.
Yes, that is correct. Sustained, or like I said, sustained winds upwards of 100, but the highest gust that I'm seeing right now, this was in Lake Charles, Louisiana, was 137 miles per hour. And there's actually a radar site in Lake Charles, and whenever the hurricane made landfall, it actually knocked out the radar, both at Lake Charles and into Fort Port in Louisiana. So it knocked out 2 radar sites that was supposed to be covering the storm. So a lot of the forecasters are actually using the Houston radar site because the other 2 are inoperable at the moment. So definitely making things a little more dicey down there.
It hit as a Category 4. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it's gone down a little bit to a level 3. And again, if I'm wrong on that, tell me. I'm just sort of pulling that out from what I thought I heard on TV this morning.
So Category 4 is what it made landfall as, correct. Right now it's down to a Category 2 as it continues to head up the state of Louisiana. It's going to continue to weaken, but still devastating flooding associated with training or raining over the same area multiple times, and very strong winds knocking down power lines. And just watching and reading some of the other things on social media, it's ripped full air conditioning units and sent them flying hundreds of feet through and blowing out windows, and just devastating going on. Devastating damage expected down there.
Our ABC radio newscast at the top of the hour will have more details of Hurricane Laura. Also, for those who would like to see the pictures of this kind of stuff, the CBS Morning News and ABC's Good Morning America will have a lot of, I'm sure, ongoing live coverage as well. So now, Zach, let's bring it home. Does this head our way at any point? Do we get any aftermath of this later in the week or not?
Certainly. So we're going to watching our projected cone, the funnel projected path of this storm. I'm expecting it to get into maybe the southern portions of West Virginia late Friday night, if not throughout the day on Saturday. So we could receive the remnants of this hurricane late Friday night, if not Saturday. It's looking like a washout day for your beginning of the weekend, and some of that rain is could be associated with this hurricane.
So let's come back to today then. It's just going to be a hot and muggy day today ahead of any aftermath of that storm. But it looks like it's going to be a real a scorcher, I guess, today, huh?
Yep, expected highs back into the mid-80s, and it looks like I'm tracking the chance of seeing some late morning and early afternoon type showers and storms. We are, a good portion of the upper Ohio Valley is in a slight risk for severe weather. So some of these storms could certainly pack a punch today as well as tomorrow. Again, I'm expecting to see morning and afternoon type showers and storms actually for the next 3 days, both today, Friday, as well as into Saturday. where Saturday looks like it's a more all-day type of event, whereas today is going to be scattered showers off and on today, but still packing a punch with some gusty winds, some localized flooding, as well as the possibility for some hail falling from some of these storms that bubble up.
Still looking at a pretty good Sunday, though?
Yep, Sunday is still trending nice and dry. Definitely going to need to dry things up, so I showed the mowing forecast today, and it looked like hopefully things will dry up and hopefully grasses get greener and hopefully perk all the gardens up. Anything that's been dry hopefully gets a good drink and soaking this week, the end of this week and into the beginning of the weekend. But Saturday or Sunday and Monday are trending dry and looking beautiful with highs back into seasonable levels.
And then by midweek, we may see just a little bit of this storm coming back our way with some rain and stuff later in the week, next week, right?
Yep, it looks like the midpoint of the next work week, we could receive some afternoon and evening type showers and storms.
All right, Zach, I appreciate it. A quick question. Would you want to be covering a hurricane? You're a weather guy. Would you want to be down there standing outside watching the winds blow right around you?
Thinking about that, I kind of want to say yes just because of the adrenaline factor. But even whenever I was talking about it this morning, I guess I'm still new, so I'm second guessing myself. A lot of the knowledge that I learned at Penn State whenever I went for my undergrad, just thinking about the stuff and all the processes that are going on. I certainly understand what's going on whenever we get into the nitty-gritty technical discussions, but to broadcast it into making it, I guess, in layman's terms and bringing it down to simple talk, I don't know if I would be able to do so right now. Maybe within a year or two, whenever I would feel more comfortable. But right now, I would say no. I'm glad I am close to, 600 miles away from the storm. I'm going to keep my distance from those right now.
I got you. All right, Zach, I appreciate it. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Thanks a lot.
Sounds good. Thank you. We'll see you.
Zach Patey from the Big 7, WTRF TV. So Hurricane Laura hits as a Category 4, down to a Category 2 now. Some of the initial wind gusts were darn near record high for that part of the country. It is diminishing. It is still a powerful storm. We'll hear a lot more coming up at the top of the hour from ABC, and throughout the day today we'll hear a good bit on ABC News at the top of the hour every hour if you want to track the storm here. If you want to watch the TV, you'll get a lot of the video and so on. Biffy, would you want to be a weather guy covering a hurricane, standing out there in the middle of the winds and the rain and the storm?
I'd like to be one of those guys that gets to fly over and actually sees it, that flies into the eye of the storm. I'd want to be one of those guys. I don't know about standing out there in the middle of that. I think I like to be in the air and get the view from the air.
You don't want to be like what's this guy's name from the Weather Channel? Jim Cantore, the guy who's always
yeah. I don't know how he does that.
If you're in a town and Jim Cantore comes to cover things, you're in trouble.
Yeah, it's not good. But I think one of the scary things about the hurricane was when last night, before it made landfall early this morning, was when you saw the winds, sustained winds at 150 miles an hour and gusts of up to 175 miles an hour. I mean, I couldn't imagine. And the one town that I think it hit first was actually Cameron. It's called Cameron, Louisiana, and just the people down there, and you hope everything's okay, and you can always rebuild, but I hope everybody got out and took the advice of the governor of Louisiana and Texas as well, and got out in time, and everyone's safe.
Yeah, it hit, as you point out, Cameron, Louisiana, with sustained gusts of 150 miles an hour, putting it at a tie with a hurricane from 160 years ago. They called it the Last Island Hurricane of 1856. It had wind gusts of 150 miles an hour when it made landfall. So now, again, let's be clear, it's diminished a bit. It went from a 4 to a 2 as far as the category goes, and those 150 mile an hour winds have dropped down. but it hit at 150 miles an hour, making it a tie for the worst storm to hit the Louisiana coast in history.
I guess
I'd like to make history, but not that way.
No, and I guess if there's one good thing from this, at least it wasn't slow moving and they got rain like you wouldn't believe. It kind of just moved through, and that was it. Did what it did, and now it's going north. But I mean, I couldn't imagine if this would have been a slow moving one, and you know, you got the rain that would have been from it, other than what they got.
Yeah, absolutely. If you have some thoughts, you want to text them in on hurricanes or anything else, 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600. Coming up, I want to talk about this power plant controversy in Brooke County, and also want to talk about Governor Justice and Phil Kabler. It's fun to watch the two of them go at it. And man, they go at, I mean, there's no pretense anymore. There's just no pretense anymore. And the governor has no problem calling reporters out. I mean, we remember the Stephen incident a few weeks ago. And I think yesterday the line was, for crying out loud, Phil. I'll share a bit of Phil Kabler's question and the governor's response coming up a little bit later on. Coming up today at 10 o'clock, statewide talk line, Hoppy Kercheval will talk about much of what I'm going to get into, as well as chatting with Ben Salango, Democratic gubernatorial candidate. Ben was with us yesterday. If you missed the interview here on this show, it is up on our podcast page. I want you to check that out because it was kind of interesting, I thought. We talked a bit about his barnstorming tour, but also talked about Ben Salango's thoughts on a so far lack of endorsement from Stephen Smith and West Virginia Can't Wait, and what West Virginia Can't Wait, we are told, are waiting for, apparently isn't going to come, according to what Salango had to say. If you want to check it all out, the Stephen Smith interview and the Salango interview, both up on our podcast page, watchdognetwork.com, and click on the podcast page. Also, if you're an iTunes podcast guy, our podcasts are now up on iTunes as well. So you can subscribe to us via the iTunes page. So that's a bit of what's coming up today on Statewide Talk Line with Hoppy Kercheval, 10 to noon. Then, of course, at 12 o'clock, the WTRF TV7 headlines, always live from the news desk of WTRF, Bill DeFabio's variety show from 12:15-ish or so until 2 o'clock. And today, we're dancing with Dr. G on a Thursday. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
It's the Donnie Gilbert radio show. Once again today for the afternoon drive, Donnie is in from 2 until 5 o'clock, live from Quaker Steak and Lube at the Highlands. Who's on with Donnie? Well, Dave McLaughlin and Ross Johnson will co-host today. Caden Minch will be in talking about an Eagle Scout project he's doing at Glendale Municipal Park. Then we head off to high school football previews. This is that weekend, after all. Head coach from JM is going to be on hand. Mike Young from Central will be there. Tim Brown and Gibbs Davidson from Cameron High School are going to be on with Donnie today, live at Quaker Steak and Lube. Again, Donnie is doing his afternoon drive show right now on Thursday, and probably will for a while. He'd been doing it on Friday for a while, but of course tomorrow we have the Friday afternoon walkthrough. Beginning tomorrow, the afternoon drive every Friday will consist of Jerry and the gang on the Friday afternoon walkthrough. So today, 2 to 5 on the Watchdog, AM 1600, AM 1370, FM 98.1, and FM 97.7. It is Dancing with Dr. G, as I like to call it, the Donnie Gilbert radio show. Biffy, no other show like it.
No argument here on that one.
There is no other show like it for sure. Going to get more into this story tomorrow here on the show, but just a second or two to talk about this power plant project in Brooke County. There had been a natural gas power plant project in Brooke County. It had been predicted to provide thousands of jobs for construction workers. It had been predicted to provide millions and millions of dollars of economic impact to Brooke County and the surrounding area. And now it's apparently off the table. Now, let's be clear. The governor said yesterday, why, it's not dead. It's not dead. This is what people are saying. The media has run with this and just perpetuated. They felt it was a dead issue, but it's not dead. But the real thing here is there was to be a guaranteed state grant as part of this gas-powered power plant. And that's no longer available. That's gone off the table. Why? The governor says not this case, but most people believe it is because we have in this state this undying fealty to the coal industry. This belief that no matter what, we have to do everything to make sure the coal companies, not the coal miners, the coal companies survive and succeed and make more money, so they can then send more money in campaign contributions to many of our elected officials. Of course, Governor Justice himself is a coal operator. We saw this happen in Marshall County with a coal-fired power plant, or a gas-fired power plant that had been proposed in Marshall County. It was fought tooth and nail by Bob Murray, mainly, and others in the coal industry. We can't have, my God, we can't have a gas plant. We must save coal. When are we going to accept the reality that the world is moving on? I don't want to get rid of coal. Coal's still got a significant future, but it's no longer what it was, and it's never going to be. We've got to look to the future. And gas-powered plants are one part of the future. Other alternative energies are there as well. So thousands of jobs and millions of dollars apparently lost because, well, we can't have gas there. We should have coal. Unbelievable. I'm going to talk more about it tomorrow with some guests here on the show. Let's head to the news desk of ABC right now. More on the hurricane next.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
They came in, we got...
Biffy, do you have that Kabler cut that I sent you this morning in messages? Okay, I'm going to use that coming up. Then Bruce Wheeler will call in about 8:15. And we have Bob Heron calling in at 9:15. All right, and I'm going to go refill coffee, and I'll be back. I've been up since 3. I woke up at 3 and couldn't get back to sleep, so I need some extra. I need caffeine this morning. I'll be back in a minute.